Hey there, I'm DPadGamer and I'd like to make a few things clear before I discuss this game. First off, I'm a huge Banjo-Kazooie fan. The series has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, and I wholeheartedly believe that Banjo-Kazooie on the N64 is my favorite game ever. It's not the best, but it's definitely my favorite. Next, I absolutely do not care one way or another about any of the controversy surrounding Yooka-Laylee and its release/development. I am only interested in discussing the game itself. If that's fine with you, then feel free to keep watching. Lastly, and to some people perhaps most importantly, I was not a Kickstarter backer for this game. I have backed games before, but when Yooka-Laylee's campaign was live, I couldn't afford to contribute anything. And you know what? I'm glad. Despite hoping for the best and going in with an open mind, this game left me disappointed. It didn't surpass the series that came before it, or even come close to matching the quality. I'm sorry Playtonic, but you failed. Yooka-Laylee is a bad spiritual successor. In just its opening cutscene, Yooka-Laylee misses its mark. We start off in Ivory Towers where the corporate overlord Capital B is unveiling the new golden statue of himself. From the interaction between B and his vice president Dr. Quack, we learn three things. Capital B is vain, he cares about profits, and he's lazy. He orders Dr. Quack to turn on the book-sucking machine and to make sure to secure the special book. We transition to our main characters Yooka and Laylee, who are laying down in the sun. The special book has apparently been used by Laylee as a drink coaster until now. Yooka, with no evidence to back up his claims, says that the book is pirate treasure and it must be worth loads. In the span of about 20 seconds, Laylee now believes that this book is extremely important and the duo chase after it as it gets sucked away. What an awful way to jumpstart this adventure. Capital B is not an imposing or compelling villain, and he can be removed from the story and it wouldn't affect it one bit. While the duo comes across as likable, their call to adventure is so arbitrary that it's somewhat laughable. The player is given no real reason to care about these characters or their ensuing adventure. To contrast, we need to take a look at how Banjo-Kazooie starts off. On a dark and stormy night, Gruntilda the Witch is in the highest part of her lair, speaking to her sentient cauldron. Through rhyme, we learn that Grunty is vain, and she refuses to believe that there could be anyone prettier than her. When told otherwise, she immediately goes out and straight up kidnaps Banjo's sister Tootie. This shows how evil Gruntilda is while simultaneously giving the Baron Bird a good reason to rush off on their adventure. We as players are given a goal to guide us through the ensuing game, rescue Banjo's sister, and defeat the evil witch. Now of course this is just the first few minutes, but unfortunately it doesn't get much better from here. The game's main hub, Ivory Towers, is functional in that it does contain the entrances to the game's 5 worlds. However, the layout and design seems to be very scattered, lacking the focus found in Banjo-Kazooie. Even worse, the various sections of the hub are split up by a game show-esque quiz. The quizzes are just awful. They're definitely there to check a box in the Kickstarter stretch goals. Oh, you know what? There it is! 330,000 pounds, a pre-final boss quiz show challenge level. They definitely decided to go above and beyond by having it appear more than once. The decision to arbitrarily place these quizzes in between sections of the overworld is quite misguided. Rather than providing a sense of progression, they instead slow the pacing down to a literal crawl. It's clear from the Kickstarter that they originally intended to place the quiz before the final boss, so what happened? It's completely acceptable to rearrange the formula, but it's supposed to be for the better, not for the worse. Now, let's take a look at the worlds and the stuff inside them. To start off, we have Travel Stack Tropics. This is by far the most okay out of the group. It recreates the atmosphere found in most other starting game worlds, such as Mamba's Mountain, Green Hill Zone, and Bomb Battlefield. For some reason, rocks plus greenery with some upbeat music just works. Unfortunately, like the worlds that come after it, Travel Stack Tropics displays some lazy design in regards to the character and collectible placement. First off are the quills, which are currency for Trouser the Snake, who teaches the duo new abilities. There's 200 of them to collect in each world. Some of them are placed in a way that encourages exploration, leading the player to different sections of the game. However, many are just shoved into every corner and hole possible without much thought put into it. After a certain point, it becomes an exercise in frustration to track down each one. In Banjo-Kazooie, the collectible equivalent musical notes were much easier to find since the levels were quite compact. When Banjo-Tooie rolled around, the games were much bigger. As a result, the notes were placed in nests containing 5 notes with the occasional treble clef worth 20. That means there's only 16 nests and 1 treble clef per world to collect. It makes for a much less tedious collecting experience, a design choice which Yooka-Laylee clearly ignored. So for the characters, there are way too many repeats. Here's what I mean. There are 4 Knights of Hamlot, which can be found in 3 of the worlds. World 2 has 5 different snowmen, World 3 has 3 different trolleys, and World 4 has multiple slot bandits. At a certain point, it feels as if someone decided to start copying and pasting characters, rather than creating new ones, just so they could fill out the worlds. So, each world has an arcade cabinet run by Rextro64us. Aside from the one in Capital Casino, the arcade cabinets don't fit their surroundings at all. The minigames themselves are boring for a few reasons. First off, they're quite uninspired, feeling like reskinned Mario Party minigames. Also, you're not given a reason as to why you want to play these games. The only in-universe reason you're given is because Retro asked you to. Also, you gotta play each one of them twice if you want both pages from Retro, and the challenge doesn't change at all from the first attempt to the second attempt. In the original games, there were many different minigames, but it never got boring. Many of them had a reason for the player to care about the outcome aside from the prize. Sometimes you were destroying stomach ulcers to help out a distressed plesiosaur, other times you just want to win despite the evil witch. The minigames are always adjusted, with something new to deal with in each subsequent round. That way, you never have to do the same challenge twice. Okay, so the final boss for this game is extremely disappointing. For some context, Yooka and Laylee have finally reached Capital B and are determined to get their book back. This isn't the climactic final battle between the hero and villain. Instead, it's more of a box being checked which states every game needs a final boss. If you take too much damage, you might as well give up and try again since there's no butterflies provided to refill health. It feels as if the boss battle is lacking polish, and at one point, I actually died during a cutscene. Once the battle is done, and you've triumphed over the villain, it's all undone. Dr. Quack informs the duo that he reports to the real bosses, and Capital B is just a cog in the corporate machine. Oh, and then Blasto, a character from the starting level, randomly appears, and he accidentally shoots the two bad guys, trapping them inside of a book. A great way to reward the players is to tell them that everything they did was pointless. To sum this whole video up, I am a disappointed fan. Just about every aspect of the game was done better back in 1998. There is the possibility that Playtonic will do better in the next game, but if this is how they plan on keeping the Banjo-Kazooie series alive, maybe it should just stay dead. Thanks for watching, and of course, thanks to my patrons who help make these videos possible. I don't usually do video game reviews, and I know this was all over the place. If you made it this far, please let me know what you thought, so that way, if I do any more of these, I can do better than the next one. Check the videos on screen if you want something to watch, and otherwise, that's it for me. I'll see you next time.